Welcome back to the Literary Apothecary. My name is Kate and today I'm here to give you guys a weekly reading update. Now, I will talk about the books that I finished, the books I'm currently reading, what I plan on reading next. But first, let me just acknowledge that this is going up on a different day than normal. I am trying out a new day, putting these videos up on Sundays because I've realized that most of my reading and filming time comes on the weekends when I'm not busy with work or not with John. He's busy with work on the weekends, so I thought let me move this to Sunday and see how it goes, so that way I get more time to film better videos for you, but also more time to read so I have more content in these videos. So I'm going to try this out for a couple weeks and see if it really makes a difference, and if it does, then I'll continue. But I'll update you all when I make a final decision on that. So first, let's talk about the books that I have finished reading this past week. So first up, we have Grits in the Graveyard by J.L. Collins. This is book 1 in the Witch Hazel Lane Mysteries series. A spoiler-free description of this book: witches around the world have decided to announce their existence to the world. However, our main character, Birdie, she's a witch, but she isn't ready yet to tell everyone that she's a witch. So she flees from her Vegas magic show and goes back to her hometown in Mississippi. She buys the house that she's always dreamed of owning, which includes a haunted graveyard. Everything is great until her neighbor turns up dead in her haunted graveyard. Birdie becomes the main suspect and must work to catch the killer and prove her innocence, all while staying undercover so as not to have suspicion that she's a witch. This was such a cute, cozy mystery, but it didn't have enough grits for me. Grits are in the title, so I expect grits a lot, especially being in the South. You're gonna get grits, but I feel like they were only mentioned like once, so I wanted more grits. Our atmosphere and our setting were perfect in this book. That was my favorite part of this book. Now, the other thing that I have finished this week is kind of a twofold. So I finished the last short story in the Side Jobs collection by Jim Butcher. This short story was titled Aftermath, and this story felt so bittersweet to me. Based on circumstances that came before this short story, which I can't really talk about without giving away spoilers for the first 12 books of the Dresden series, that's why it felt bittersweet. Dresden's werewolf friend shows up at Murphy's door asking for her help in tracking down his pregnant wife who was kidnapped. This was such a unique reading experience for me without Dresden in this story at all. It felt weird at first, very weird. It took a lot of time to get used to it. But once I was able to get used to it, I really appreciated having this world from different points of views. We had a couple different of these short stories throughout this collection of different points of view other than Dresden, but I feel like this was the only one where we had a different point of view and Dresden wasn't in the story at all, and that just gave a whole different perspective on this magical world that we find ourselves in. So finishing that story also allowed me to finish the collection Side Jobs and Other Stories, because that was the final short story in that collection. This was such a fun collection of short stories, novelettes, and novellas, and I feel like it really helped expand the Dresden world for me here, with both the characters and the settings, the world, the plot lines. Everything was just so well expanded upon with these separate stories. If you have liked what you've heard for either Grits in the Graveyard or Side Jobs, stay tuned, because I'm going to have videos coming next week all about those two books. So what am I currently reading? Well, a lot of this is going to sound familiar because they're big books and they're going to take me a long time to get through when I only have limited reading time to begin with. So that includes A Breath of Snow and Ashes by Danica Baldin, book 6 in the Outlander series, along with the Outlandish Companion Volume 2, which covers books 6 5 to 8 in the Outlander series, of course, the Lord John series, the spin-off novellas that she has written in addition to the Outlander series. I'm enjoying all of this so much. A Breath of Snow and Ashes is a very, very dark book for the Outlander series, but it is done so well. It's kept my attention the entire time, even though this was a reread for me. This is only my first reread of this book, so different than the other books, but it's had my attention the entire time. And the Outlandish Companion, now that I'm past all of the preliminary materials where we had like all of the summaries of the books, which in my opinion were a little bit too long and too detailed, and then we had the character glossary essentially where we get a little blurb about each one of the characters that are in these books. I'm past all of that, and now I'm into the deep reference materials, and it's really, really interesting to read Diana Gabaldon write about her own writing in these, and that's why I love these companion books. I'm also reading Ship of Destiny by Robin Hobb. This is book 3 in the Live Ship Traders trilogy. I am at the very beginning of this. I feel like I only just started this last week, but I am so far enjoying being back in this world and can't wait to see where this goes. So far in book 3, I am loving Ronica Vestrit. She is a mood and I am here for it. I'm also reading the book At the Water's Edge by Sarah Groom. I think I'm about 50% through in this book, and so far I'm kind of just feeling mid about it. It's not bad. I'm not feeling bad enough where I want to DNF it, but I also am not absolutely loving it so far. So it's good that I have a lot of other books to balance with it, and one of the reasons why I do read more than one book at a time, so I can balance out these different opinions on books. So we'll see how the second half of the book goes from here. I also started A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is a book that I have a copy on my Kindle and I have a copy on my Audible account right now, but it's going to be going away on September 9th, so I wanted to get this read and done with before then. I am still at the beginning. I'm only on like chapter 3, but I'm loving it. It very much feels like I'm coming home, even though this is my first time reading it. And the audiobook feels like I'm reading The Hobbit, which I have learned since I started reading this book and came to this realization that the narrator for this audiobook on Audible, it also narrates the Lord of the Rings series and The Hobbit, so that would be a great explanation why this feels like I'm reading The Hobbit. But also just the language that Le Guin uses in writing this book feels very much old fantasy, Hobbit type of writing, epic fantasy. I believe it was first released in the late 60s, so that's kind of old fantasy. I don't know timelines of fantasy like that to be able to say for sure. So if you all know a lot about fantasy, let me know if this is considered old fantasy or not. It feels like it. It feels like that old classic fantasy that you just want to read and cozy up under a comfy blanket with a hot cup of cocoa. The last thing that is on my current stack of reads is an essay / long nonfiction, short nonfiction piece titled Los Angeles Days by Joan Didion. I always love seeing things through Joan Didion's eyes, and this is all about essentially Los Angeles through her eyes, and I am really enjoying it and learning a lot. So what am I going to be reading next? My next 2 physical reads will be I Am Legend by Richard Mathias. This is picked by John. I am giving him free reign over my TBR essentially for this next month, but also he'll have at least one pick going forward from all of the books that I own to help me get through these books more. I really enjoyed seeing the film version with Will Smith of this book, I Am Legend, and I missed the buddy read from Ben and Grace's Discord last year, the year before that. I can't even remember at this point, so I'm really looking forward to picking this up. I'm also going to be picking up a Leonardo da Vinci biography by Walter Isaac. That is a book that was lent to me by a coworker. She had it and she started reading it. It was too much for her, too big for her, but she thought I might like it. It reminded her of me, knowing that I love to read books. And so I took it and I told her I'd read it and give it back when I'm done and review it. And so I definitely want to get to that next so I can return that to her, because it is a ginormous book and I don't want her to think that I have forgotten it or just taken it and kind of stolen it. The next audiobook that I'm going to be starting is The Custom of the Army by Diana Gabaldon. This is leaving my Audible account on September 23rd. This is one of the last Lord John novels that I haven't read yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. I have a whole slew of Audible books that are leaving my account in September. I'm not sure what's going on in Audible right now, but I had like 4 different Diana Gabaldon books that were listed as leaving in September, and then when I went to check again right before filming this, there was like a whole bunch of other books that were also going off my Audible account in September. So I might bump another one that is leaving on the 2nd. That's a really short one. I think it's a kid's book. I think it's called like something like Inside Out and Back Again. I have no idea what it's about, but it's on my Audible account. And that one actually leaves on September 2nd. So I might try to squeeze that one in this weekend and then get to the Lord John books or some of the other books that are going out before our Outlander books. I'm not quite sure on the order now that I see all of these books going away. However, the next digital book will likely be The Paper Magician by Charlie Holmberg. This has been on my Kindle for so long. I haven't read it yet, but I am really excited to read it. I got it because I loved the cover and I love the title, and I can't wait to see what it's all about. Now, that leaves me with just the videos that are coming this week. That includes, of course, spoiler-free reviews for Grits in the Graveyard by J.L. Collins and Side Jobs and Other Stories by Jim Butcher. If either of those two sounded good to you as I was describing them in this video or previous videos, then be sure to check out those spoiler-free reviews coming on my channel in this coming week. If you have read any of these books before, of course, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of them? Also, in the comments below, let me know what your favorite reading moment was from this past week, and what are you looking forward to reading this most in this next week. As always, keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.